What would Western nations do if African nations were to break free from their control? One might think they should allow African nations to become self-dependent or offer partnerships that benefit both African and Western nations to maintain a connection. However, instead of choosing from these options, France decided to take an unimaginable route, setting up a destabilization plot for Niger. After the discovery of war weapons in the Sahel region, placed there by France, Niger could not remain silent. It urged France to immediately end its plot and be prepared to face the consequences. So, will France back off? Let's find out. Niger just revealed something that has shocked all the Western people who thought their states were innocent. The current Nigerian government revealed alarming information regarding French involvement, revealing a plot to destabilize Nigeria. In a recent press conference, a military leader disclosed the discovery of French war weapons in the Sahel region, shedding light on a previously undisclosed cooperation that extended beyond typical diplomatic relations. The revelation emphasized that the collaboration with France was not merely incidental, but rather part of a more sinister and permanent scheme for dominance. The discovered French war materials in the Sahel region, as highlighted by the military leader, included elements that pointed towards a deliberate effort to destabilize Nigeria. This disclosure unveiled a troubling aspect of the historical relationship between the two nations, suggesting that France had played a more active role in regional affairs than publicly acknowledged. The inclusion of war weapons in the revelations made by the current Nigerian government suggested a calculated and aggressive approach aimed at undermining the stability and sovereignty of Nigeria. Such weaponry goes beyond mere political influence and points to a direct and potentially violent impact on the security landscape of the Sahel region. Many say the behavior of former President Bazoum has continued the challenges the Sahel region is facing. So, how did former President Bazoum's pro-Western behavior contribute to the current challenges in the Sahel region, and what role did France play in opposing the change in leadership? Former President Bazoum's pro-Western behavior significantly contributed to the current challenges in the Sahel region. The aftermath of Bazoum's alignment with Western powers, particularly France, left a dark legacy. France's colonial stance became evident as it vehemently opposed the change in leadership that followed Bazoum's tenure. France's opposition to the change in leadership was marked by threats and defiance, showcasing its unwillingness to relinquish its grip on the Sahel region. Despite the cutoff of essential utilities, France refused to leave, revealing a power struggle that reflected its historical influence in the region. Does that mean France was controlling the Niger with the help of Bazoum? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The question of whether France was controlling Niger with the assistance of President Bazoum has sparked heated debates and raised concerns about foreign influence in the region. Some voices contend that France used Bazoum as a puppet to exert control over Niger, with the ultimate goal of destabilizing the nation. The argument suggests that the weapons discovered in the Sahel region are evidence of France's covert involvement and manipulation through Bazoum. To unravel the complexities of this assertion, it is imperative to scrutinize the geopolitical landscape, historical context, and the available evidence. Understanding the dynamics between France, Niger, and the Sahel region requires a comprehensive examination of the geopolitical context. France has maintained historical ties with its former colonies in the Sahel, often collaborating on security initiatives to combat terrorism and promote stability. The presence of French military forces in the region is not a new development, but rather part of a broader strategy to address shared security concerns. While accusations of puppetry imply that Bazoum served as a pawn in France's game, it is crucial to consider the nature of the collaboration between the two entities. Bazoum's alignment with France may be better understood as a strategic partnership to achieve common security objectives rather than outright control. Such collaborations are common in international relations, where nations work together to address mutual threats and challenges. The claim that weapons found in the Sahel region serve as proof of France's involvement in destabilizing Niger requires scrutiny. Weapons trafficking, regional conflicts, and internal factors can contribute to arms proliferation in a given area. As Bazoum exits the political stage, a cloud of uncertainty is over Niger. with lingering concerns about the potential aftermath of his departure and the prospect of weapons being used to destabilize the nation. The departure of a leader, especially in a region marked by geopolitical complexities and security challenges, can trigger a series of consequences that resonate both domestically and internationally. One immediate concern is the weapons collected or provided during Bazoum's tenure. The fear is that these weapons could fall into the wrong hands, exacerbating existing tensions and contributing to an already volatile situation in the Sahel region. It highlights the need for vigilant monitoring and international cooperation to prevent the proliferation of arms that could further destabilize Niger and its neighboring countries. The political vacuum left by Bazoum's departure may also create opportunities for internal actors or external forces to exploit the situation for their interests. Political transitions are vulnerable periods where power struggles, factionalism, and even violence can emerge. The potential for destabilization is not solely tied to external influences. Still, it can also stem from internal dynamics, as various factions vie for control or influence in the post-Bazoum era. The concern is not only limited to the immediate consequences within Niger's borders, but extends to the broader implications for regional stability. The Sahel has been a hotbed of security challenges, including terrorism and insurgency, and any instability in Niger could have ripple effects across neighboring countries. Diplomatic efforts and collaborative initiatives must be prioritized to mitigate these concerns. The international community, through organizations like the United Nations and regional bodies, can play a pivotal role in supporting Niger's transition and preventing any potential slide into chaos. Coordinated efforts in disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration programs will be crucial to address the issue of weapons and ensure a peaceful transition of power. Moreover, concerns about the aftermath of Bazoum's departure highlight the broader issue of governance and political stability in the Sahel region. They highlight the need for sustainable solutions beyond a single leader's tenure. Addressing the root causes of instability, including economic disparities, social grievances, and the influence of external actors, is paramount to establishing a resilient political environment. Is there even evidence that proves that France was behind all this? The reported discovery of a substantial arsenal of war weapons on the premises of the European Union Civilian Crisis Management Mission in Mali has raised questions about France's potential involvement in activities that could contribute to regional instability. The findings, as reported by local media in the Sahel region, include assault weapons, explosives, satellite communication devices, and strategic maps. While these discoveries are concerning, it was important to approach the situation critically and consider various factors. Firstly, the specific circumstances surrounding the discovery of these weapons were thoroughly investigated. Establishing a clear chain of custody, determining the origin of the weapons, and understanding how they ended up on the premises of the European Union mission were essential steps in verifying the claims. Additionally, the involvement of relevant authorities, international organizations, and independent investigators can help ensure an unbiased and comprehensive assessment. How did France respond to the accusations of its involvement, and why was the denial considered weak? France's response to accusations of its involvement in destabilizing the Sahel region involved a flat denial of any wrongdoing, with the country attributing the discovered weapons to a third party. However, this denial has been deemed weak for several reasons, especially when viewed in the context of past instances where African nations presented credible evidence of France sponsoring terrorism. One of the main weaknesses in France's denial is the lack of specificity regarding the alleged third party responsible for the discovered weapons. A robust denial typically includes clear, detailed information that convincingly refutes the accusations. Without providing concrete details about the supposed third party, France's response appears vague and leaves room for skepticism. Additionally, the historical context plays a crucial role in evaluating the strength of France's denial. The mention of past instances where African nations presented credible evidence of France sponsoring terrorism raises questions about the credibility of France's current denial. If a pattern of behavior exists, it can undermine the credibility of present assertions, making it challenging for France to dispel suspicions solely through a blanket denial. Moreover, The weakness in France's denial is exacerbated by the broader geopolitical dynamics in the Sahel region. The area has been unstable, with various actors vying for influence. In this context, a denial without a comprehensive and transparent investigation into the discovered weapons can be seen as an attempt to deflect rather than address the concerns raised by the accusations. Proactive measures, such as offering to collaborate with international bodies for an impartial investigation, further weaken France's position. Strong denials are often accompanied by a willingness to participate in transparent investigations to clear doubts. But was France investigated? In the face of accusations alleging France's involvement in destabilizing the Sahel region, a notable void emerges: a lack of investigative action. The absence of thorough scrutiny has sparked concerns about accountability on the global stage, casting a shadow over the integrity of international responses to serious allegations. The mere fact that no formal investigation has been initiated regarding the accusations against France leaves a crucial gap in understanding the truth behind the claims. This absence of a diligent inquiry damages the search for justice and raises questions about the transparency and fairness of global institutions entrusted with maintaining order and accountability. The concerns stemming from the lack of investigation are multifaceted. Primarily, they center around the perceived impunity of powerful nations, such as France, when facing serious allegations. The notion that certain countries might be immune to scrutiny or consequences due to their influence and standing on the global stage raises serious doubts about the effectiveness of international mechanisms designed to ensure accountability. The principle of equal treatment under the law is paramount in global affairs. When accusations arise, especially those with potential geopolitical ramifications, a prompt and impartial investigation is imperative to establish the facts and maintain the credibility of the international order. The absence of such scrutiny creates a perception that powerful nations can operate above the standards expected of others, leading to a skewed understanding of justice. Moreover, the lack of investigation sends a concerning signal about the international community's commitment to transparency. Transparency is fundamental to fostering trust among nations and ensuring that actions are aligned with stated principles. When serious allegations surface, a transparent investigation reveals the truth and demonstrates a commitment to fairness and accountability. Now, the alleged involvement of the Sahel region in destabilizing Niger sparks questions about whether it was a voluntary act or a result of external forces. Contrary to voluntary involvement, it appears that the Sahel region was compelled to act, which is evident in its plea for investigations into the allegations. This plea highlights the region's desire to reveal the truth and shows how foreign powers, particularly France, may have exploited its territory for their benefit. The Sahel region's call for accountability takes center stage as it actively seeks to raise awareness about the actions of foreign powers. This is particularly aimed at France, and the region is adamant about the need for a comprehensive investigation into the alleged plot to destabilize Niger. By making these calls public, the Sahel region aims to draw attention to what it perceives as unwarranted interference and manipulation by external actors. The historical context of exploitation by foreign powers significantly influences the Sahel region's approach to demanding accountability. The region acknowledges that its struggle for independence is not an isolated event, but rather intricately connected to a broader history of exploitation by foreign powers, with France at the forefront. This historical exploitation shapes the region's perception, fueling its determination to break free from external influence and assert sovereignty. Framing the call for accountability as a plea for justice, the Sahel region emphasizes the importance of unraveling historical patterns of exploitation. By connecting contemporary issues to the enduring impact of past injustices, the region seeks to garner international support and understanding. It aims to convey that its fight for accountability is not just about the present allegations, but is rooted in a deep-seated desire to rectify the historical injustices perpetrated by external powers. The implications of this approach highlight the complexities involved in addressing contemporary challenges in regions marred by a history of exploitation. The Sahel region's insistence on accountability is not merely a reaction to recent events, but a strategic move to reclaim agency and challenge the status quo. By intertwining the call for justice with historical exploitation, the Sahel region defends its sovereignty, demanding recognition and respect from the international community. Does the struggle for independence in the Sahel region reflect the challenges African nations face in showcasing their sovereignty? The struggles for independence in the Sahel region offer insights into the challenges African nations face as they assert their sovereignty. These struggles mirror common obstacles African nations encounter on their path to self-determination, revealing a broader pattern of historical legacies, external interference, and power struggles with foreign powers. At the heart of the Sahel's struggle for independence lies the lingering impact of colonialism, echoing a shared experience among many African nations. The historical legacies of colonial rule have left deep imprints on the socio-political landscape, shaping the region's trajectory in its bid for autonomy. Sahel's journey reflects a common narrative of grappling with the consequences of historical injustices and the enduring influence of former colonial powers. External interference emerges as a recurrent theme in the struggle for sovereignty, not confined to the Sahel alone, but resonating across the African continent. African nations often find themselves entangled in power dynamics with foreign actors, facing economic exploitation, political action, and military interventions. The Sahel's experience becomes a microcosm of these broader challenges, illustrating the complexities of navigating external influences while asserting national autonomy. Economic exploitation surfaces as a significant hurdle in the Sahel's pursuit of sovereignty, mirroring a widespread issue across Africa. The struggle to control and benefit from natural resources, coupled with economic dependencies established during the colonial era, reflects African nations' broader economic challenges. The Sahel's efforts highlight the need for equitable economic partnerships and resource management to break free from historical patterns of exploitation. Political influence becomes a critical aspect of the Sahel's struggle, reflecting a broader trend in which African nations contend with external actors shaping their political landscapes. In asserting its sovereignty, the Sahel region confronts diplomatic pressures and interference that resonate with the experiences of other African nations. The call for accountability and justice becomes a shared plea across the continent, seeking to redefine political relationships and safeguard national interests. Overt and covert military interventions emerge as a common thread in African nations' broader challenges. The Sahel's struggle highlights the impact of external forces on regional stability and security, echoing the continent-wide concern of foreign powers manipulating internal affairs for their strategic interests. The call for sovereignty in the Sahel becomes entangled with a broader narrative of safeguarding territorial integrity and self-determination. But the question here is why France is obsessed with controlling African nations. France's historical desire to exert influence and control over African nations can be traced back to its colonial past and the strategic interests it developed in the continent. The motivations behind France's actions in Africa are multifaceted, encompassing economic, military, and geopolitical dimensions. Like other European powers, France engaged in extensive colonial activities in Africa during the 19th and early 20th centuries. The exploitation of resources, the establishment of trade routes, and the imposition of colonial administrations left a lasting legacy. Even after the formal end of colonial rule, France maintained strong ties with its former colonies, seeking to perpetuate its influence. Some African nations used the CFA franc, an emblem of France's economic dominance. This arrangement ties these nations to the French economy and allows France to control their financial policies. However, the CFA franc system has been criticized for perpetuating economic dependency and hindering the economic autonomy of African nations. France views its military presence in Africa as crucial for maintaining regional stability and safeguarding its strategic interests. Military bases in African countries allow France to project power globally, intervene rapidly in crises, and secure its geopolitical influence. These military ties also serve to counteract potential threats to French interests. France has a history of influencing political regimes in its former African colonies. This influence often extends to supporting leaders who align with French interests and ideologies. France seeks to shape the political landscape through diplomatic channels and other means to ensure its continued influence. Despite France's historical ties, a growing sentiment has been against its continued presence and influence in African nations. Protests have erupted, calling for the withdrawal of French troops and a re-evaluation of the relationships. The desire for sovereignty and a break from historical patterns of foreign intervention are central themes in these protests. Recent efforts by French leaders, such as President Emmanuel Macron, to redefine France's relationships with African partners and address colonial legacies, demonstrate an acknowledgement of the need for change. However, these efforts face challenges due to political complexities, historical contexts, and the deeply ingrained structures of influence. So, France's interest in controlling African nations can be attributed to an interplay of historical ties, economic dominance, strategic geopolitical interests, and the desire to maintain influence in the region. Do you think African nations should let France control them? What would happen if the Western power over African nations ended? In the comment section, let us know if they should find hidden ways, like using weapons to destabilize a country to control it. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.